Hello, beautiful children of China. It's your teacher, Timothy. Time to get the cobwebs out of your mind to learn something new. Just me and you. And George. George, will you stand right over here, my friend? Stand right there to watch the lesson, okay? George likes to listen, especially to the ones like this. This is a story lesson, so George loves it. And also with the story lesson, we really need to have a beautiful candle. Remember, if you find matches, if you have matches, always talk to a grown-up first, okay? Today we're going to tell a story from Russia, an old story from Russia. And I am going to give you a few words that we're going to use in the story. There are 4 words. See if you can read them before I say them. And the 3rd word. And the last word. There are our 4 words. Let's say them. Let's say them together. The first one here. Sprout. Sprout. Go ahead, say it after me. Sprout. Sprout. Second word. Assist. Assist. Say that. Assist. Assist. Good. Third word. Grasped. 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 Fourth word. Spied. 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 Good. Those are our 4 words. They're good words for this story. There we are. This story is called The Turnip. Now, a turnip is a vegetable that grows in the ground. Okay, maybe you have a word for turnip. The word turnip, you could translate it if you wanted. The word, here's the word. Turnip. A turnip. That's the vegetable that we're going to be talking about. So, one day, there was a man, and he had a big dark beard, and he had something in his pocket. He had a little seed in his pocket, and he knew that it was a turnip. And he decided that he would like to plant that seed and take care of that seed, and then grow it as big as he could, and at the end to make some soup, some very good soup from a turnip. And so he took the seed in his hand and he went and he got a shovel. The shovel, do you know what a shovel is? Here's the shovel right here. This is a shovel. He got a shovel and he dug a hole down into the ground and he dropped the seed into the hole. And then he covered the seed just right. And then he watered. He put some water on the seed. And he went back home. And he went to bed. Now the next day he woke up and he went right out to the field. And he couldn't believe it. There was already a sprout. Now there's that word, isn't it? There was already a sprout. Just a little something poking up out of the ground. And he put some more water on it, and he said a little prayer over it, a blessing, that it might grow more. He was so excited. The turnip was already growing. The next day, he went out there and it was even bigger. It was a sprout that was up to his knees. And the next day he went out and watered it some more and it was bigger. It was up to his waist. And then he watered it some more. And the next day it was even taller. The sprout was sprouting way up to his shoulders. It grew and grew and grew and grew and grew until it was above his head. And that's when he decided, I bet the turnip is perfect right now. I am going to dig it up. I'm going to dig it up and make my soup. And so he grabbed on to the sprout, the plant, and he began to pull and to pull and to pull until he was tired. He was so hot, and the turnip was not coming up. It was not coming. And so he saw his wife over there. And he asked her to assist him. He asked her to assist him, to help him, to assist him, to help him with this. And so his wife came over and she grabbed onto his belt and he was holding onto the turnip, and the two of them pull, the man and his wife pull, and they could not get it, even if she assisted him. And so they called their son, a very strong, husky son, very strong. Son, come and assist us. And the son came, and he grabbed onto his mother. He grabbed onto her belt, and the mother grabbed onto the man's belt, and the man was hanging onto the turnip, and all of them began to pull, but they could not get it. Here they are, pulling. Look at the size of this turnip. Look at how big this is. Woo, it's big. So now we have the man and the man's wife, the husband and the wife, and then behind the wife, their son. They're all pulling. And look right here. He is grasping. See that word? Grasping with his hands onto her clothes. And she is grasping with her hands onto his belt. And he is grasping with his hands onto the turnip, isn't it? To grasp. They grasped with their hands. To grasp. So the three of them were pulling, and they could not get it. And so the boy saw his sister. His sister was very strong. And so they went and they got the sister. And the sister grasped onto the boy, the son. And the son grasped onto the mother, and the mother grasped onto the father, and the father grasped onto the turnip. And they pulled, but they could not get it. And so, let's see what happened next. Oh my goodness gracious, can you guess what's happening here? The father is grasping onto the turnip. The mother is grasping onto the father. The boy, their son, is grasping onto the mother. The daughter is grasping onto the son. And now look who they called. Their dog. Their dog is strong. And the strong dog is grasping with his teeth onto the daughter's dress. And pull. And pull. They could not get it. And so there was the kitty cat. And the kitty cat came and grasped onto the dog's tail. And then they all pulled. Oh, and pulled. And they pulled, but they could not get it. The cat was good at seeing things. Now, when you see something with your eye, and it's hard to see, you spy it with your eye. And the cat spied a mouse. And instead of eating the mouse, the cat went and got the mouse to help. I think the mouse might be able to help. Maybe we just need a little bit more help, said the cat. And so a mouse came over and grasped onto the cat's tail. And the cat grasped onto the dog's tail. And the dog grasped onto the girl's dress. And the girl grasped onto the boy. And the boy grasped onto his mother. And the mother grasped onto the father. And the father grasped onto the turnip. And I think it started to go. I think it's coming. And the turnip started to come out of the ground. That little mouse must have really helped. Well, the whole turnip went, and it came out. And they were all sweating on their forehead. They were laughing. They were crying. They had worked so hard. Well, the father said, "This is a big, heavy turnip. It's the biggest one I've ever seen. I'm going to need help carrying this." And so they all helped to carry. They all helped to carry. Even this little mouse was helping. The kitty cat was helping. The dog was helping. The daughter was helping. The son was helping. The mother was helping. And the father was carrying it too. They were all helping to carry it. And then the father and mother said, "We're going to need more help. It is so big. We're going to need help cooking it and eating it." And all of them were very excited about that. Oh, that sounded very good because they had worked hard. They were hungry. And so they cooked and they cooked and they cooked. And they cooked a beautiful stew, and they put a little bit of salt in. They put a little bit of pepper in. They put some more spices in. They cut up the turnip just so, and they put other flavors and broths in and made this oh, it smelled good. And oh, it smelled good. And they got a little tiny plate for the mouse. And they got a bigger plate for the kitty cat. And a bigger plate for the dog. And then a good plate for the daughter. And a good plate for the son. And then a bigger plate for the mother. And the same big plate for the dad. And I guess they weren't really plates. They were bowls, weren't they? Because they were going to eat some stew. A stew is like a soup. So they all had their bowls, you know, the bowl like this. And they put the turnip soup in and they started to eat. And they looked at each other and they said, "This is the best stew I have ever had." And why do you think it was the best they had ever had? I think it was because two things. Food is always best when it just comes out of the ground, or if it just comes to you in some way, right away, right from the earth. It's always tastes best. And also, if you work hard at that food, it tastes good. And all of them had worked very hard to get that pulled out of the ground, to get it chopped up, and then to make the soup. And so it tasted so, so good. They smiled at each other and they were happy with their turnip soup. Huh. That's such a good story. I like that story. Let's look at our words again. Let's look at our words. This is a turnip. That's this thing right here. That's a turnip. Turnip is a big, they're not usually ever that big. This is just a big story about a giant turnip. They're not usually that big. They're usually about this big, about that big. And then here's this word, sprout. Do you remember the sprout? When it starts to just grow out of the ground and there's just a little sprout coming up like this with a few leaves on it, you know? This is the sprout. It started to grow out of the ground. That's a sprout when the turnip was just starting to grow. Assist. Well, who assisted here? The husband was working and the wife assisted and the son assisted and the daughter assisted and the dog assisted and the cat assisted and the mouse assisted. They all helped assist in the process. Assist. When they grabbed onto each other and pulled, they grasped each other. They grasped each other. They grab on and grasp, right? When the cat saw the mouse, it spied the mouse. It spied the mouse with its eye and called it over to help. I think without the mouse, they wouldn't have got the turnip. That little thing helped, didn't it? So let's say our words again. Sprout, assist, grasped, spied. Let's say it again. You say it after me. Sprout, assist, grasped, spied, turnip. Sprout, assist, grasped, spied, turnip. With our hands. Sprout, assist, I can help you, grasped, spied, and the turnip that we eat. So that's a good old Russian story. Let's tell it backwards. Let's tell it backwards and then we'll be done. At the end here, they're all eating, aren't they? And they're very happy. And just before that, they all had to help to make the soup and to get the bowls. And just before that, they all had to carry the turnip. That's what they're doing here. And just before that, they all grasped onto each other and pulled the turnip out of the ground. Who was the last one to help? The mouse. Who was the one before the mouse that was helping? The cat. Who was the one before the cat? The dog. Let's go to the next picture. Here they are. Here's the cat, the dog, and who was the one before that? The daughter. Who was the one before that? Right, the son. And who was called the wife? Yes. And finally, the first one to start pulling was the husband. That's right. And there, this turnip is so big, it won't come out of the ground. Let's see here. See, here's just the son, the wife, and the husband, the man, the woman, and the boy. And they are pulling and pulling and pulling. They have grasped onto there and they're pulling, and they're not having any luck. It is not coming out of the ground, is it? And before that, what was happening? Before that, the man and the woman were pulling. And before that, just the man was pulling. And before that, the man was watching it grow. The sprout was growing so high. And before that, the man had planted the seed in the ground and had been watering it. And before that, he had dug a hole in the ground and he dropped the seed in. And before that, he had gone and gotten a shovel and he had dug a hole in the ground. And before that, at the beginning of our story, the man had a seed in his pocket for a turnip, and he thought about planting it and making a good bowl of soup. And that's the beginning of the story. We went backwards through the whole story, didn't we? Well, George, it looks like we're done with the story. Do you want to say goodbye? Goodbye, my friends. It's your teacher, Timothy, and I am signing off and saying goodbye. Thank you for a good lesson. Now I'm happier. You are smarter, and the whole world is a little bit smaller.